So excited about Quenton Nelson. When Frank, me and Frank have talked a long time about, fixing, you win games up front. I mentioned that last week to y'all. And Quenton Nelson, we thought was the best offensive lineman in the draft. He's got everything we want in terms of character, work ethic, toughness, passion for the game. And he is going to be great for this team and great for the city of Indianapolis. So we're extremely excited to get him. Time's yours.
Chris, what was it about him that you saw in film that you thought he'd be a good fit here at Indy?
I saw him a year ago, actually. I'm close friends with Harry Heastan, the O-line coach who's now in Chicago, and we were together at one point in Chicago, and he spoke glowingly about him. Even a year ago, he thought this kid had real pro potential. But just he's good both as a run blocker and pass pro. He's nasty, he's tough, he's everything we want to stand for as a team. His football character is off the charts, and that's something we want to keep adding. He is demanding. He'll be demanding of his teammates to perform, and he'll be demanding on himself to perform. He'll come in and earn it like every rookie has to. But he's a unique guy. Got unique size, bend, strength, power, everything you look for in an interior lineman.
Hey Chris, did you go to a lot of workouts, pro days and stuff? I know you went to Nelson's. So did you go to a lot of them?
I went to one.
Okay, you went to Nelson's.
I went to Nelson's.
And explain your reason why.
Because it was an easy drive. we had so much going on, and I had so much tape to continue to grind on, so it was an easy trip for me to get up to Notre Dame. Look, usually I will get out to more. This was just an unusual year, new staff, new head coach, us getting to know each other. That kept me in-house. And look, I get every workout on tape. I mean, the Dub Center and the NFL does, and the college video crews do an unbelievable job. So as soon as they work out, within the next 2 days, we have it on tape. Sometimes there's just something about seeing a guy live, though, that you just and I got a chance to see Quenton live and watch him play and also watch him work out, and he's a guy you can feel. You can feel him.
Chris, did you consider moving back? Did you have calls, or was he?
We had a call. Yeah, we had a call. I just didn't feel like where we had to go. I talked about premium players, and Quenton was in that group. I thought where we had to go, we were going to lose what I consider a premium player. And look, we still have more picks. It'd have been nice to pick up more picks, but I think we were getting the drop off was too much for us at that point.
Coach, how excited are you to get this kid? What he means?
Well, right from the very start, when Chris and I started talking about how this team is going to take shape and form, like you said, it was up front on both sides of the ball. And this was the premier player in the draft. That was an easy consensus in this building for all the qualities that Chris already mentioned. And it's just it gives you the kind of foundation. When you're good up front, both offensively and defensively, it creates a dynamic. It creates an attitude, I think, that just carries through the whole team, an air of confidence to know that you can win up front.
Chris, were you worried you'd be there at 6?
There was a little concern, but I felt good last night when I started hearing all the quarterbacks that were going to come off the board. Then the Denzel Ward pick, I'd been getting some, little feedback that there was a chance Denzel Ward was going to go. So I had a feeling that, one of the three, Barkley, Chubb, or Nelson, would be there at 6.
Historically, interior offensive linemen don't usually go this high.
Yeah.
Why did you decide this guy was worth the investment?
Yeah, good point. I think we see now the importance of the entire O-line, not just tackles. And I think you can see it in the way they're being paid. The last few years, they're making upwards of tackle money. We saw a couple guards here this year, make one in the $13 million range, the other one in the $11.5 million range. So I think people are realizing, and look, offensive linemen in general are harder to find. Big men are hard to find. So I think you're seeing a more premium put on them. and protecting the quarterback is important.
Chris, I mentioned, I kind of guess I know the answer, but you don't share your intentions or plans with Andrew or Brissett, but you think maybe they like this fit?
I'm sure he will, but Andrew, if you know Andrew well enough, he doesn't ask any question about who we're drafting.
You mentioned Barkley, Chubb, and Quenton. Was that we knew you weren't looking at quarterbacks? So of the top guys in this draft, was that your group all along? It seemed that way.
Yeah, and there was a couple other guys in that group that we were perfectly content. We think are going to be really good players. But we had it narrowed down to about 4 guys that we thought would be instant starters for us, impact players, and be Pro Bowl players eventually in time.
And when you made the trade back from number 3, had you already kind of arrived at that sort of pack of guys? In other words, that informed your decision?
Yes, I walked when we made the decision to make the trade. Before I walked in the draft room and made sure. I said, okay, let's take worst case scenario that quarterback goes at 1 and quarterback goes at 3. So 2, 4, and 5. We better be content with whoever's at 6. And we were comfortable as a group of who was going to be there at 6.
First, when it came to 6, was it Nelson, or was it Nelson, was it clear when it came to 6 tonight that
It was Nelson. It was Nelson.
Chris, you said you watched him live last year.
Yep.
Do you remember what?
Miami. I watched him against Miami his sophomore season, and this year I watched him against North Carolina State.
Chris, you've always talked about how you keep a folder of guys. You're always just looking. At what point did you? When you got hired by the Colts, did you say, you know what, this Nelson kid would be a great fit for us?
Oh, I don't know.
You can hold one kid.
You don't know how when you go into school and you see a good player, you always get a vision for how he would fit on your team. But I would say more, it was really, honest with you, it was after I got done with the workout, I'm watching him work out, I was like, wow, man, this guy's really, he'd be a great Colt.
What was it during the workout that you just did?
Oh, you could feel him. Like, I've been around, so I could feel when I watched Adrian Peterson come out. I'll never forget standing on the sideline and him running by me. I don't know if you've ever experienced that with a player, but I could feel Adrian. Same thing with Des Bryant. When Des Bryant was at Oklahoma State, I'll never forget a kid running by me, and you can feel Quenton Nelson the same way.
How so? How so? Like, just...
I don't know. When he gets out there, I'm going to have you come stand next to him and see if you can feel the same thing I feel.
Greg, what do you want to do offensively and up front, what you want to do, your schemes and so forth? How does Quenton fit in that? Is he a good fit for what you want to do? I mean, obviously he's a good player, but specifically, does he fit really well with that?
Yeah, he really is. He was just productive in every kind of run scheme there is, in zone run scheme and gap run scheme. We charted him as a puller. I mean, his productivity when pulling was just so far greater than anything we've ever seen. He just instinctive. I mean, he's not only big and tough and strong and got all the football character, but when we started talking, we want guys who are instinctive football players. They're processing quickly and are just they find ways to be playmakers. So we talk about all the time that we think playmakers on the edge, playmakers. We talk about playmakers up front as well, and this guy's in that category.
When you see him excel as a puller, that has to be telling, indicative of a lot too.
It really is. For that big guy, and he can move in space and just have the knack. Have the knack. For the right entry, the right kind of block. It was very impressive.
Frank, do you remember your first impression when you saw him on film?
Yeah, my first impression was that this is the best offensive lineman I've seen, coming out in the draft in a while, and thinking of the first time talking to Chris about this, and our mutual consensus that this is where we got to go. We got to build. We want to build the fronts, and that's what wins, because we want to be dynamic in our skilled positions in the pass game and in coverage, but in the long run, you got to be good up front to sustain and get to where you want to get to.